Awesome Rider Wiki.
Hey YouTube, Awesome Rider here, and this is going to be my review for issue 2 of Drakkon New Dawn, and we did officially find out who the Mystery Ranger is. I'm glad I got that theory video out before this happened, because I honestly didn't expect it to be quite this soon, but it is indeed Jason. You know, I talked about a bunch of different options, because I thought they would either go in the direction of it being some surprising mythology stuff, or something like Jason or Billy, where it'd be more character stuff, and I still think it could have been cool if it was something like Andros, or a first ranger, or something that was like more mythology driven, but I think Jason's a good choice. It's a safe choice, but there's lots of interesting character potential, which we already see, I almost said in this episode, because I'm used to saying that, in this issue. Because the basic conflict of the issue is about the Ranger Sentries, and how the powers are being used. Because like, right as Jason's being awakened, you know, they have their reunion, but this mysterious female Ecliptor is attacking, and it's definitely a female Ecliptor. Her name's Eclipta. As of this issue recording, we don't know exactly what that means. I mean, it means she's a female Ecliptor, but I don't know if she's meant to be just a member of his race, or whether, some people have theorized, which is kind of a cool theory, that she's a fusion somehow of Ecliptor and Corone. Or it could be an Elseworld situation, you know, like in DC Comics and stuff, or Marvel does it too, where you'll visit a different universe and like the character will be gender bent, so that could be a thing too. But regardless, it's basically female Ecliptor for now. But she's attacking right at that moment, and they're talking about Drakkon contingency, and Adam walks in to warn them, and Jason punches him because he's a Season 1 purist. He doesn't like the Season 2 cast. And he's mad because he's a Ranger Sentry, and like he has all this trauma from being, you know, kidnapped and held all these years, and being forced to watch Drakkon's terrible acts and fight Drakkon. But on top of that, he had extra like hang-ups about the Sentries, because right when he got kidnapped or taken or whatever, you know, Liam Neeson didn't save him, so he was screwed. But what happened was Drakkon was explaining to him like, you know, I'm going to use your coins to power all these people, because Zordon was just trying to covet the power for himself, and he didn't want people to rise up against him. And he was kind of making some interesting points, but like a little bit evil. But obviously when they give it to the Ranger Sentries, it dilutes the power, which is like a really interesting concept, because they talk about, you know, how one Ranger power connects someone to the morphing grid, but this kind of connects a bunch of people, but it dilutes it. It's kind of a similar idea, which I never thought about to this issue for whatever reason, to the MMPR Pink comic, when they used Kim's connection to make the MMPR Pink versions of the costume. So that's really cool, and it just brought some interesting debate to the mythology and stuff. But basically, Jason was traumatized by seeing a bunch of people wearing the MMPR red armor, his armor, to do terrible evil things. So he's really biased against the Ranger Sentries. I keep wanting to call them Slayers. And so he doesn't like Adam, and he's having a hard time accepting that Kim's working with Scorpina and all the other voices of Drakkon. Thanks, Kripke. That's kind of the core conflict that happens, but then they're like, we don't have time to debate this, and Jason storms off. He's like, I'm going to Ernie's juice bar. I'm like, good luck, it's destroyed. I'm assuming. Maybe it's not destroyed, who knows. Anyway, then you get a big fight scene with Ranger Slayer and all the Sentries and Eclipta and her forces, and Adam jumps in and he just gets the drop on Eclipta, and all of a sudden the Ranger Sentries demorph, and then Eclipta done stabs Adam, and I was a bit confused by it because it made it seem like they killed him, because they're like, let him go, he's got killed. And then when they show back up at the base, it looked like they had Adam and someone was trying to grab him, and Scorpina said let him go. So I think he's either killed or almost killed, and Scorpina's gonna do something to fix him or revive him. I was a little confused by that, but a little surprised regardless that Adam got dealt such a blow, but it makes sense because it was like Jason's fault. And so this is causing all this infighting between the Coinless and Drakkon's forces, and then they're interrupted by Jason, who obviously you knew it was him that took the power coins out of like the Sentry Scrambler or whatever it was, and he shows up and he says it's time to bring back the Power Rangers, and you cut to him and he's in the MMPR red suit and he's holding the other coins, and that was kind of expected but really cool. Like, I thought it was a really good issue. Like, we're hitting the ground running already with some interesting stuff. Like, I was kind of looking forward to maybe some more mystery about the Mystery Ranger, but I liked this delved into some really interesting character stuff with Jason, what he's been through, an interesting debate between him and the Coinless, because like I see his point and he'd want to bring back the Rangers, but I see Kim's point too, because you know, they're living in this world and they're actually managing to somewhat cohabitate, and he kind of screwed that up by doing this. But it was a cool moment when he showed back up and said, let's try and bring back the Power Rangers. And then you have all this Eclipta stuff with Dark Spectre, and I didn't even mention there was an interesting couple of scenes where they were trying to figure out how, like, Drakkon knew about Eclipta and all this stuff, and it was for their contingency, and it was because Drakkon basically tricked Scorpina into telling her about stuff she knew, and he was like, you know, I miss Rita, and Scorpina's like, me too, even though he's the one that killed her, and he's like, let's be friends. And he's got like a creepy smile. They cannot give Drakkon a redemption arc with an evil face like that, seriously. But it was kind of interesting because I feel like in a sick way, Drakkon probably does miss Rita, even though he was the one that killed her. But there was lots of interesting stuff with that. Like, there's just a lot of interesting stuff going on with all the characters and with the Ecliptus stuff. Like, I'm super curious to find out what's going to go on with that and how deep into like the lore or the characters of the Alliance of Evil we're gonna get into, but I didn't even think about that because I was so caught up in the Ranger stuff, and I'm interested to see where that goes. Like, will they all get their powers back? Is there gonna be no more sentries? Is there gonna be new sentries? I was thinking in this issue, since we're delving into other things in the Zordon era, it might be cool to get the Zeo powers. What if they find out about those and the Rangers get the Zeo powers and then they give the sentries back their powers? That'd be cool. We could see Zeo Ranger 4 Green Zack or something. That would be kind of awesome. I remember there was also a fan drawing of a hybrid Jason that was Gold Ranger with red MMPR. That would be kind of cool. It's so fan servicey, but it would be kind of cool if he somehow did that. But that would be interesting if, you know, we got some new powers out of this, or we brought in the Zeo powers, because now that we have like in space stuff, it's possible to bring stuff in from the other eras. But overall, I'm really enjoying this series so far. I mean, it's only 2 issues, but it's got me pretty invested both in the story and character stuff. I'd probably give this issue an 8.5. But what do you think of this issue? What do you think of this series so far? Were you disappointed that this ended up being Jason as the Mystery Ranger? Were you hoping for something else? Let me know in the comments as always. Until next time, like, comment, subscribe, and climb the steps, entering that bell so you can get notifications for my videos. Dawson Ryder, signing out.